Welcome to another hangout on the Perio 333 channel. Thanks for stopping by. And we're calling this one, I Don't Mind Pushing Myself and Finding Out More About Myself. Um, what brought this topic? What brought this topic along was I'm in the beginning stages of training for the Las Vegas Rock and Roll Marathon, which is going to be in November of 2019, November of this year. I'm in the beginning stages of training, and to this point, I usually train simply by running miles. I usually train simply by running miles, and no real strategy behind it. No real strategy behind it. It's just, to me, like I train on my own. So my concept, my theory, my thought process goes as follows. The way to prepare to run 26.2 miles is to run as many miles as possible, as often as possible. So run miles to run miles. No real strategy behind it except for that. Now, I'm several marathons in the game now at this point, and it has worked. It has gotten me across the finish line every time. That strategy has gotten me across the finish line every time. Now, if you will remember, I did a 100-day personal fitness challenge starting on March 10th. It went through Father's Day, and my reason for doing that was I wanted to upgrade my training process. And when I say upgrade, what I mean is I wanted to add a physical component to an already aggressive cardio component. I have never had an issue since I became a runner. I haven't had an issue with the running part of training or running. That I enjoy. The working out, the going to the weight room or the fitness center or the gym or whatever, that is something that I have not been very disciplined in that area, in that aspect. So the 100-day personal fitness challenge the goal was to use challenging myself, right? In addition to running 4 to 5 days a week, I was going to add at least 3 days of physical fitness, working out, training in the weight room, training in the fitness center or whatever, and adding that to my training so that it would have a positive effect on my overall outcome, my overall production. And with the combination of the two, surely I would be a better athlete all around. I've mentioned in the past that my 2020 regimen is pretty aggressive, pretty ambitious, and I have some things that I want to do, and I want to do well in some of these upcoming events. I have to, in order to get some things accomplished that I want to get accomplished. And these are things that I'll speak on more in the future. I don't want to get off get off the topic of this video, of this hangout, about pushing myself. So I'll get more into the specifics of my 2020 agenda. But for now, let's just say I need both physical and cardio. I need them. I need the combination of the two to be a better athlete, to be able to execute a very aggressive, a very ambitious agenda for 2020. So, in addition to my 100-day personal fitness challenge, which I did complete, I did 100 days in a row of physical activity, 3 to 4 of those days each week going to physical fitness. And at this point, I'm at 121 days. It's been 3 weeks since my 100th day. So I'm at 121 days in a row of physical activity. In addition to adding the physical component to my training, I also wanted to structure my training for specific results. I wanted to structure my training for specific results. So, what does that mean? That means I want to take time off of my best marathon time yet. My best marathon time to this point is 3 hours, 55 minutes. My longest time is 4 hours, 25 minutes or something to that effect. I want to get my time down to 3 hours. 3 hours. At the very least, or at the very most, 3 hours, 15 minutes. So if we're going from my shortest time, my best time at 3:55, we're talking about taking 40 minutes, anywhere from 40 to 55 minutes off of my time. So to do that, I sought out some assistance of sorts, and researched a couple of different methods. So one of them was the Furman method. Very familiar with Furman University myself. I have very close ties to Furman University. I was actually pleasantly surprised when I realized that the Furman method was originated from Furman University. I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I have very close ties to Furman University. And then the second one was the Hanson's marathon method. The Furman method is a 3 days. It's a 3-day work week, essentially a 3-day training week. It's a 3-day training week where you do speed work, tempo, and then a long distance run. Speed work, tempo, and a long distance run. With the Hanson marathon method, it differs a little. It requires a 6-day work week, training week. It's a 6-day training week where you do some speed work, you do a couple of easy days, you do tempo, and you also do a long run. So you're working, you're training every day, with the exception of one day. Now, initially, I was all in on the Furman method because, and you know, I've said this before. When a person is training for a marathon, especially how I have been training, where I'd spend any free time, I'd clear free time by waking up early in the morning, whatever the case may be. I'd make time and I would run multiple miles per week. And it takes a lot. Takes a lot of time. Um, which made the Furman method, it looks really appealing when I thought about it in that sense. 3 days, I could I could handle that. I could handle 3 days. That's how I felt. I could handle 3 days. There's no question about it. I could handle three. Uh, but after reading, and I should also say that I have the Hanson Marathon Method. I have the book. I don't have the Furman Method book. I looked it up on the internet after I was told by another runner that uses the Furman method. She told me a little bit about it. I do a little research on it. I found ample information on it. I mean, it's enough information out there to get the gist of it. But I have the Hanson Method book where they really go into detail. They talk about all aspects of everything, and I'm into it. I'm really into it, and I don't mind the long training week because it's what I do already anyway. It's what I do already anyway. I feel I feel as though I will be able to uh I feel as though I will be able to follow the Hanson method, and I feel confident about erasing multiple minutes off of my time. And it's going to be very important that I execute the training and be ready come November to really give a really give maximum effort to get as close or to meet the goal that I am setting for 3 hours. Super important that I meet the goal that I am setting forth. I literally have to meet this goal during this run. I have to. I absolutely have to. So in order to do that, I'm gonna really need to push myself, because I would also say the way that I train right now, I run the miles. I run at my own pace. I run at my own pace. Um, I haven't necessarily had a standard set in time goals or whatever, because I've never done the science behind it myself, and I just, I needed some help on this one. I needed some help on this one to kind of get a direction to go in, to figure out what type of effort do I need to put forth to get to 3 hours. I didn't know. So I've kind of been in my own personal comfort zone while doing something that that takes me out of my comfort zone. So for me to go running and for me to do long distance endurance sports is something that definitely takes me out of my comfort zone. However, once I'm engaged, I seem to feel as though being engaged and being middle of the road, 3 hours 55 minutes, 4 hours 15 minutes, 4 hours 20, 4 hours 35 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever, that's pretty middle of the road. I mean, that's doable for most people. I think, if you train, you could just about anybody could come up with those type of results. I feel like that anyway. I mean, I'm never last, I mean, of course there's people who's doing worse, but I don't think that's great. I don't think that's great. And it hadn't been about being much better than that. In the beginning, you just want to finish. You know what I mean? You just want to finish. I even thought the first time I ran a half, I was thinking, I mean, a full marathon, I was thinking 5 hours. I was thinking 5 hours would be fine. I mean, shit, 26.2 miles. I mean, you figure that's a long way or whatever, but I was thinking 5 would be fine, but it's not fine. So, as time is going on, and I've become more ambitious. In terms of endurance sports and running marathons and triathlons and different things. I've gotten to a point now to where I want to up my game. I want to up the stakes. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to push myself. And this is what in general, what endurance sports and endurance athletes do as endurance athletes being involved in endurance sports. Endurance athletes push and push and push to find out more about themselves. I believe that wholeheartedly. We push and we push and we push to find out more about ourselves. I mean, think about running a 26.2 mile race and getting to a point to where you're unhappy during the race. I mean, it's such a roller coaster ride when you're out, you're in the mix, you're in that middle of it. You're at mile 18 and everything is telling you that you're an idiot. What are you doing? Right? What is your problem? Why do you constantly put us, your mind and your body, you're having this conversation in your head. Why are you putting us in this situation all the time? Why? And then you go, your legs hurt, your ankles hurt, your arms, your fingers, your toes, even your nipples, right? Even your nipples can sometimes hurt. I mean, guys, I'm talking about men. Your nipples hurt. I've heard of guys' nipples bleeding. Dudes have bleeding nipples. because of the constant brushing on the nipple from the shirt. It's serious, right? And you push regardless of any of that. It causes you to dig deep. And the more often you do it, the more you begin to love it. The more you do it, the more you begin to love it. And the more you push yourself to find out more about yourself. Because every time I've experienced a long distance run in training, in the official race, or whatever, every time I've every time I have felt it, every time I have figured something out, and it causes me to really, really get into it. I really enjoy it. As a result, I was in Seattle 2017, in Seattle on mile 20, 6.2 to go, essentially a 10K left to run. I'm 20 miles in. And I hit the proverbial wall. Now, you'll hear runners talking about hitting the wall. And what that refers to is it comes a time during the race where you are required to dig deep. If you're going to finish, you are required to ask more of yourself right on the spot. You need a miracle. That's how you feel. You need a miracle right on the spot, right there. Because when it happens, there's a reason why they call it hitting the wall. There's a reason why they call it hitting the wall. Because you do not feel as though you're moving anymore. You are. You're not standing still. You're moving, but it don't feel like it. And every square inch, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, square inch, but every inch of your body, starting at the bottom of your feet, going all the way up to the top of your head, your arms, your fingers, your fingertips, your wrists, your ankles, your calves, your triceps, your biceps, your core, your back, everything. You feel every little thing. Everything's affected. Everything's affected. And you're in your own head, and your mind is telling you you can't do it. You got to stop. Like, what are you doing? Why do you continue to do this? And if you listen to yourself, if you listen to your mind, if you don't dig deep, if you can't push yourself through, it's real easy to give up. It takes a strong mind. It takes a strong mind to continue. Because think about it. Most of the people that participate in endurance sports, they volunteer to do that. Literally pay a large fee, travel in a lot of cases. You travel, so you pay for that, right? Your plane tickets, your hotel, your Airbnb, however you get down, your food, everything, your new outfit, because runners and athletes, period, but we're talking endurance right now. Everybody likes to look good and be, real flashy, and all that stuff costs. This equipment, these shoes and these outfits are not inexpensive. They're very expensive. Watches and all kind of gadgets and apps. Stuff, it gets pricey. This is volunteer. This is volunteer. We're doing this voluntarily. You can stop at any moment. I said all that to say you can stop whenever you get ready. You can quit. And if you don't dig deep, if you don't push, you will quit. Now, here's what happens, or here's what happened in Seattle. Mile 20, I hit the wall. And everything I just described is happening. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm only running because that's the last thing I remember that I was doing at the time. I remembered that I was running, so I was still running. Right? Like my mind was literally blank. Right? Mind blank. And I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm doubting myself. I just didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. Because when as I'm going through this, I don't remember seeing a mile marker for 21. I don't remember seeing a mile marker for 22. I just remember being very, very distracted by the different aspects of pain that I was in. I don't remember anything other than the different levels of pain from my feet to my ankles, to my calves and my core, and just feeling like I wanted to quit. But I powered through. I pushed, and I didn't know that once I got to mile 23, I didn't know that I would be fine. I got to mile 23 and I was fine. It all went away in an instant. And I remember seeing the marker for mile 23. Now remember, I didn't remember seeing the marker for mile 21 and 22. I was so distracted. I was in so much pain, mental disarray, just all messed up. But I look up and I see mile 23 and I'm light on my feet again. I'm in no pain. And I'm about to cruise in and take home the medal. I'm about to take home the bling. I'm about to cruise in, 3 miles to go. I'm about to cruise in and take on the bling. And what I got out of that was, on the other side of that pain, on the other side of that wall, on the other side of feeling every single ache or every single small pinch or heavy pain, I felt everything. Mouth dry. I felt everything. But on the other side of that is the prize. On the other side of that is the paycheck. On the other side of that is the finish line. On the other side of that is energy, stamina, a burst to get you through, to finish up. On the other side of that is life, oxygen, air, remedies. On the other side of pain is pleasure. And that's a true story. That's real. That's real. You got to push. I do. I have to push. I don't know what you have to do. I have to push. I do. I have to push and push hard. And when I do, I know on the other side of that major push that I make, I know it's all good. I know I'm gonna be fine. And I got that, during these races. I mean, I could tell a similar story for Miami, where it started raining at mile 1, and it did not stop until I crossed the finish line. I was soaking wet, clothes heavy. It was cold. It was Miami, Florida. It was in January, but you still don't expect it to be as cold as it was in Miami, Florida. It was a freak day. It was a crazy day. It was a weird day. Not a typical January morning for South Florida. But it was cold. I was prepared for the cold, for what it was. I mean, it wasn't DC cold, 24 degrees at the start time, but it was cold. And then on top of being cold, it poured down raining, pouring, not just the drizzle that they sometimes get down there. It drizzles on and off all day between November and June. No. It was cold rain. I mean, pouring down. Yeah, it was pouring. So I could also talk about that, and how at mile 17, from 17 to 20, I was in a zone. From 17 to 21, I was in a zone, and was crushing the course. Had got into a zone and was crushing the course. And for some odd reason, at 21, I thought about it. And it got hard. It got tough. It got tough up until about 20, 24, 24 and a half. It got tough. But anyway, we pushed through that. I mean, time and time again, you have to really, really push in endurance sports. And I don't mind pushing myself, because number one, I set out to do things. I set out to accomplish this thing being these different races, each individual one. I set out to accomplish it. And I work hard up to that point, even in the training. Sometimes I wake up in the morning. If it's a long run day, I will wake up in the morning, 3:15 in most cases. I'm out running by 4:15, 4:30. And in the past, like I said, I put miles in for miles. I put in 22, 24 miles. It's tough. It's tough. And this is training. This is not even race day. This is training. And I get at mile 21. If I'm running 24 miles, I get at mile 21, mile 22 even. And I start thinking about I'm almost home. I start thinking about I'm almost home. And I begin to think about, I have this concoction that I make up. It's coconut water, mineral water, and a little bit of Himalayan sea salt that I have waiting for me when I get home. I start thinking about how, the night before, I have prepped food. So when I walk in the door, all I have to do is put the food on the stove and get it going, and take a shower, and and get ready, or whatever. Like, my mind, it goes home. And that makes the last 2 miles of the run extremely difficult. I can't get home fast enough, and I'm tired at this point, and I'm frustrating myself with the thoughts that are in my head. And it's tough. It's little things like that makes it difficult. It gets difficult. It really, really does. Just based on how that much running, how that much time out running and being in your own head and thinking about so many things, and then getting to a point to where you just want to go home. And this is training. These are the mind games that go on when you're out and you're doing so much moving, so much running. And I mean, the music, sometimes I have my music playing and it gets loud. I have to cut it off. It annoys me. I get annoyed. It's difficult. It's tough. And again, it's all voluntary. But yet again, there's no stopping. I push myself. I push through those weird times to get home or whatever I need to do. I push through. I begin to concentrate on purpose, because I know when these times come, when I lose focus, that only means it's all bad. When I lose focus, it's all bad. I've learned that about myself through pushing myself, and then again finding out more. If I'm distracted, I lose focus. I'm not paying attention to the form that I'm using. My back's not straight. I'm starting to bend forward too much. My elbows are not at the right degree. I'm not looking straight ahead. I'm not running in a straight line. I'm zigzagging. I'm reacting to the music that's in my ears, causing me to move when I should be just going in a straight line, not zigzag. That's taking a little too much energy. It's things to consider. And when I feel myself going off and somewhat doing my own thing as opposed to sticking to the script and running properly, preserving energy, all that stuff becomes very important. But you can only I only know these things because I do push myself, and I don't mind, because I find out more. I find out what it is I need to do as a result of what it is I'm trying to accomplish, or as a result of what it is that caused me to get off track in the beginning. So this is what I mean when I say I don't mind pushing myself to find out more about myself. That's real. That's real. And in endurance sports, as an athlete in endurance sports, that's what it's all about. I mean, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love to run, and the pain that comes with it, honestly, is a small price to pay. It's a small price to pay, because this is so beneficial. It's so much more beneficial than it is non-beneficial. The pain that sometimes comes along with it, number one, is temporary. It don't last. It lasts for maybe 2 or 3 miles, and it's all about pushing through that, so that when you come out of that stage, that phase of the run, you realize I'm fine. When you come out of that phase of the run, you'll realize that you're fine. You know, so it causes you to push. If you want to find out, if if you just want some exercise, you want to get moving, take a walk. Go for a daily walk, mile or two. get your heart rate up, get your heart beating, get the blood flowing, maybe drop a pound or so, gets you active. And that's fantastic, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want a little more activity, run a 5K. Train, run and train for a 5K. 3.1 miles. You can be pretty comfortable even stepping outside of your comfort zone. Like I said earlier, I stepped outside of my comfort zone and I began to run long distance. But I'm still comfortable most of the time when I'm doing that. Although 26.2 there's a degree of suffering there. It's a beautiful struggle. Although during my training, I can definitely stay within my own comfort zone, being outside of my comfort zone. So someone who wants to, kind of get outside of their comfort zone, but still be able to be comfortable during training by, walking sometimes and, maybe running 1.5 miles and 2 miles, just a little more physical activity than just a power walk. 5K. If you want a little more than that, want to get a little bit more intense, 10K, 6.1 or 6.2, whatever. If you want to be a little bit more intense, 6.2. Half marathon is 13.1. That'll really get the blood flowing. I mean, you're gonna have to think about that a little bit, put a little more time into it. That'll help you change a little. That'll help you. That's different from the 5 and the 10K. But if you want to change your life, if you want to be a different person, if you want to be a different person, if you want to feel like you have taken massive action, run a marathon. Train and prepare to run a marathon. If you want to push yourself, if you don't mind suffering, if you understand the beautiful struggle that endurance athletes go through, marathoners, if you want to experience the beautiful struggle, plan, prepare, train for, and run a marathon. It is a life-changing experience. Hands down. That's a fact. That's a fact. Hands down. It's a life-changing experience. I can assure you, if it's something that you've never experienced, if it's something that you've never done, you will push yourself and you will find out more about yourself than at any other point in your life. It is unbelievable. Not many things compare to going across that finish line. Not many things compare to it. Not many things compare to it. It is a life-changing, life-altering experience. And I don't mind, right? I don't mind pushing myself through things, even outside or above and beyond the marathons at this point, which is another benefit that comes from endurance sports. I mean, those of us that participate in endurance sports benefit in multiple ways. One being, if a listen, it's hard to believe that you can't do something when you have successfully planned, prepared for, and trained for, and completed a marathon. It's hard to feel like nothing, like something is impossible. Like you feel as an individual that you know what, I can do anything. I mean, if as a human being, you can put that kind of work in. You can manage your time and find the time in this busy world that we live in, these busy lives that we have. If you can find the time to get this thing done above and beyond everything you have to do, and you do it, you get it done. You use that same approach with everything. You hear, and I did a video on this. You hear people say, "Life is not a sprint; it's a marathon," and there's a reason for that. Because preparing for, training for, and executing and finishing a marathon is a long process, such as life and anything in life that is going to make you feel good. If it's something that you're trying to do, and it's something that you have to prepare for, something that you have to get ready for, you can use the level of discipline that you had to use during your preparation for your 26.2. You can use that for anything, and it is the approach that you will begin to take for every endeavor that you encounter moving forward, and that is a plus. That's a plus. That's a plus. You're taught in the training how to successfully sacrifice, how to listen. A lot of the time, how to plan your meals. A person a person will come into it, and everything changes about them. The way that they go about doing the way that I go about approaching my day changed. My food, the way that I approach meals changed. My thought process changed. My life changed. It is a life changing experience. But listen, you will have to push yourself over and over and over again. Think about it like this. You're preparing for the 26.2-mile race. It's a marathon. You're preparing for the 26.2-mile race. And the preparation is tough. I'm getting up running the 22 miles or whatever. You know, if that's the approach that you use, because like I stated in the beginning of this hangout, my approach is going to be different at this point. Because I seeked help in terms of, I got this book, and I bought this book a long time ago. It just got to the point to where, you know what, I need to make these changes. I gotta cut this off. I gotta cut this off my time. A lot of these races that I want to do in the future, they require you to qualify. You can't just pay your way into them. You have to qualify. You can pay your way into them, but it's crazy. The money's crazy. And I want to qualify. So I had to get serious about reading the book, and I had to get serious about my approach to training, which is what happened. But you know, a lot of the times going into it, I found this because I've had conversations. You know, a lot of people go mile for mile, and you figure, hey, if I can run 24, 26 miles in training, I can do it when the race comes. And it's difficult. And you think about it now, you've put the work in during your training, but you still got to run the race. You still got to put the 26.2 in officially. So it doesn't get any easier. You know, it's not like, you know, you get some kind of credit because you ran the miles before the day of the race. No, you get no credit. You get zero credit. They give zero fucks. That's what people say. I give zero fucks. They give zero fucks. They could care less. Right? You have to run a 26.2, cross the finish line, get your t-shirt and your medal, you know, your parting gifts, what they give you. Sometimes you get a beer, things of that nature, but you have to successfully cross that line. So you still have the actual run to complete. You still have the actual run to complete. And I know you hear the sirens, but again, I live downtown. I have to say that every time I do one of these. I live downtown, and it's always a lot of action. Las Vegas. Studio 333, by the way. Downtown Las Vegas. Perio 333. Restore, reinvent, reintroduce, restore order in life, reinvent yourself, reintroduce yourself to the world. But back to the subject at hand. I don't mind pushing myself, finding out more about myself. Because that's what happens once you push yourself. Once you slide outside of that comfort zone and you put yourself in a situation to where you got to do more, that's the key. That's the recipe for success. That's the recipe for developing discipline. And that's the recipe for wanting to find out more about yourself. That's the recipe for going back for more, for putting yourself in a situation where you're going to have to push yourself again. You're willing to push yourself over and over and over because you feel like you can. You feel like there's nothing you can't do. So you become interested in finding out exactly like what else can I do? Regardless of your circumstances going into it, you did it, you finished it, you completed it, you push yourself, and you figure, what else can I do? Like what else is possible? If I just give a little bit more of an effort, if I go a little bit harder, what else is possible? You know what I mean? I was talking to somebody the other day and we were having a conversation and I was saying, well, they were saying, what were they saying? I forget. But my response was, or maybe not my response, but my side of it was, when I started running, I had no excuses not to run. And because that was my approach, I always ran. So the conversation must have been on something to this effect. So let's say a person is out of a job. At the time I wasn't, but let's say a person is out of a job. You can still run. And if you do, it's best to like when you this is what it was about. Even when you're going through things, you want to as best as you can, you want to keep the same daily routines. That's what we were talking about. When you're going through things, you want to keep the same daily routines. And my input on the conversation was when I started to run, or actually when I started to walk, I challenged myself to walk 90 days, 1 mile for 90 days in a row. It didn't matter what happened. That is what I intended to do. That is what I was going to do. I was going to walk 1 mile for every day for 90 days. And no matter what type of day I had, could have had a bad day at work, could have gotten into an argument with a lady friend, could have gotten into a back and forth with my homeboy, my mom's, my sisters. It don't matter. Could have had a really good day and won $3,000 in a casino. I don't gamble, so that wouldn't have happened, but I'm just saying it don't, good or bad. I was going to get the work done. That's the point. I was going to get the work done. I was going to have my Monday was going to be like my Tuesday, was going to be like my Wednesday, was going to be like my Thursday, was going to be like my Friday, was going to be like my Saturday, was going to be like my Sunday. I was going to get the walk in. That was going to happen. I was going to watch what I ate. That was going to happen. So, you begin to you take on that type of discipline. You take on that type of mentality. You execute, you get it right, you get it done, and it starts to spill over, in life, period. So, I thought about this morning when I was running, and finishing up that book, and just doing a little more intel on how how my approach would need to be with this new way of training. And I realize that I'm going to have to really push on this one. I'm going to have to really push on this one. And again, I don't mind that. I don't mind that I'm going to have to, and I know I am, because there's speed work involved, which I've never did any speed work whatsoever. But it's clearly mapped out for me, or for whoever. This book, I got it off Amazon, Hanson's Marathon Method. This is the second edition. And this one has now with just finished plan for new runners. So if you just want to finish, if it's not a time thing you're doing, there's different levels of training plans in the book. There's a just finished level, there's a beginner's level, and then there's an advanced level. I'm on the advanced level. It's going to cause me to, it's going to get up into the 200 plus miles per month. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I feel like, and then there's all sorts of stretches, recovery methods. There's even a nutritional guide in the book. It's quite helpful. It's a very well thought out method. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to really push myself hard. I mean, it's asking a lot. The advanced plan, or the plan for advanced runners, is asking a lot out of participants. It's asking a lot. It's asking a lot. I mean, it's asking for runs to be pretty fast. I mean, you have to. You have to. In order for me to get where I need to be, I got to take a couple of minutes. I mean, getting close to 2 minutes off of each mile. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, and I'm going to have to constantly push myself. And the reason why I'm talking about this, and I'll be back to talk more, but the reason why I'm talking about it is because I'm putting it out there. I want the people to know that I'm challenging myself to do this. And this in my mind, when I'm out doing my training, I'm aware that people know. So I gotta get after it. I gotta get this thing done. In other words, I'm putting myself out there. And that's one way to get it done. You put yourself out there, man. That's one way to get it done. So the fact that I don't mind pushing myself to find out more about myself, I'm getting ready to really find out about myself over the course of the next 16 weeks. This is going to last 16 weeks of grinding it out, hustling and going hard, and being focused and getting done what needs to get done. So we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting it done. I feel more confident about getting to the times that I need to get to. And again, I'm kind of putting it together right now. A series of hangouts, or a series of hangouts and videos, or live chats and videos. I'm putting together a series of live chats and videos that will further explain some of the things that some of the events I got coming up, and just all out, all in all, my future plans, starting with 2020. But we're going to start here. We're going to start here, week 1 of training for 2019 Las Vegas Rock and Roll Marathon, run the strip at night. The finish time goal is 3 hours. The finish time goal is 3 hours, which is not going to be easy. And I will have to push myself. I will have to push myself day in and day out. So with that being said, Perio 333 is my channel. Restore, reinvent, reintroduce. Restore order in life, reinvent yourself, reintroduce yourself to the world. Restore order in your life, reinvent yourself, reintroduce yourself to the world. I don't mind pushing myself, my training, moving forward for the next 16 weeks. I will push myself. I will be finding out more about myself. I will be finding out more about myself. Week one. Week one, training in the books. Perio 333. Out.